Ladies and gentlemen, we all have dreams, aspirations, and goals that drive us. But along the way, we often find ourselves weighed down by the opinions, expectations, and judgments of others. We let the noise around us dictate our path, clouding our vision and hindering our growth. Today, I'm here to remind you of a simple but powerful truth. Unlocking your potential begins with you. It's not about pleasing others, meeting their standards, or holding on to relationships or situations that no longer serve you. It's about focusing on your own growth, your own purpose, and your own journey. When you stop trying to meet others' expectations and start prioritizing your own growth, incredible things happen. You step into your true power. You shed the weight of negativity, the baggage of doubt, and the chains of comparison. You begin to rise, not because you're trying to prove something to anyone, but because you're driven by the need to be the best version of yourself. So, today, I want to encourage you. Let them go. Release whatever is holding you back. Focus on yourself, on your dreams, and on the limitless potential within you. It's time to unlock your greatness. Prioritizing your growth over others' expectations is one of the most liberating yet challenging decisions you can make. From the moment we are born, we are conditioned to seek validation from the world around us, our parents, teachers, peers, and society at large. We are taught to conform to norms, follow prescribed paths, and measure our success based on external benchmarks. However, true fulfillment does not come from meeting the expectations of others. It comes from personal growth, self-discovery, and the pursuit of our own unique potential. The problem with living for external validation is that it often leads us away from what we truly desire. We shape our ambitions to fit into molds that others deem acceptable, sacrificing our own happiness in the process. This can manifest in many ways. Choosing a career that pleases our family but drains our soul, staying in relationships that no longer serve us because we fear judgment, or suppressing our passions to fit in with societal norms. The reality is that no matter how much we try to please others, there will always be someone who disapproves. And in the end, we are the ones left dealing with the consequences of choices made to satisfy others rather than ourselves. Personal growth demands a shift in focus, from external validation to internal fulfillment. This means making peace with the fact that not everyone will understand or support your journey. People may question your decisions, criticize your ambitions, or try to hold you back, not necessarily out of malice, but because they see the world through their own limited perspectives. It is important to recognize that their opinions are shaped by their own experiences, fears, and insecurities, which do not have to define your reality. Learning to detach from these external influences is essential in carving a path that is truly your own. One of the greatest barriers to prioritizing personal growth is the fear of disappointing others. Many people stay stuck in unfulfilling situations simply because they do not want to let someone down. The weight of expectation can be paralyzing, keeping us tethered to a life that does not align with who we truly are. However, it is crucial to understand that your life is yours to live, and sacrificing your well-being for the sake of keeping others comfortable only leads to resentment and regret. True growth requires the courage to say no to what does not serve you and yes to what fuels your soul. The journey to prioritizing yourself begins with self-awareness. Take time to reflect on what truly matters to you. What are your passions? What excites you? What kind of life do you envision for yourself? Too often people do not allow themselves the space to explore these questions because they are too busy living according to someone else's script. Self-reflection is a powerful tool that allows you to understand what you want and need rather than what others expect of you. Once you have clarity on your own desires, you can begin making decisions that align with your growth rather than external approval. Another important aspect of prioritizing growth is setting boundaries. When you decide to focus on yourself, you may encounter resistance from those who have benefited from your compliance. People who are used to you always saying yes may struggle to accept your newfound assertiveness. They may try to guilt trip you, make you feel selfish, or even distance themselves from you. This is a natural part of the process. It is not your responsibility to carry the weight of other people's expectations. Boundaries are not about pushing people away. They are about protecting your energy and making space for what truly matters. Self-investment is also key in personal growth. When you prioritize yourself, you invest in things that nourish your mind, body, and soul. This could mean reading books that expand your perspective, learning new skills that bring you closer to your goals, surrounding yourself with people who inspire you, or simply taking time for self-care. The more you invest in yourself, the more you grow. And the more you grow, the more you realize how much potential you have been holding back by living for others. One of the most transformative realizations on this journey is understanding that you do not need permission to live life on your own terms. Many people spend years waiting for validation before pursuing their dreams. They wait for their parents to approve, for society to accept, for friends to encourage them. But the truth is, the only approval you need is your own. The moment you stop seeking permission and start taking action, you reclaim control over your life. There will be moments of doubt. There will be times when the opinions of others shake your confidence. But every time you feel yourself slipping into the trap of external validation, remind yourself of why you started. Remind yourself that your growth, happiness, and fulfillment are worth more than temporary approval. The people who genuinely care about you will respect your choices, even if they do not fully understand them. And those who do not respect your journey were never meant to walk beside you in the first place. When you prioritize your growth, you become an example for others. People around you will see the transformation, the newfound confidence, and the inner peace that comes with living authentically. Your journey might even inspire them to start their own. By choosing yourself, you are not just changing your life, you are setting a precedent for those who are watching, waiting for the courage to do the same. The path to self-prioritization is not always easy, but it is always worth it. Growth requires discomfort, change, and the willingness to step into the unknown. But within that uncertainty lies endless potential, the potential to become the person you were always meant to be. The more you focus on yourself, the more you realize that the only limits that exist are the ones you have accepted. And when you finally break free from those limits, you unlock a life that is truly your own. Releasing negative influences to embrace your true self is one of the most powerful steps you can take in your personal growth journey. Throughout life, we encounter people, situations, and habits that shape us, but not all of them contribute positively to our development. Some hold us back, drain our energy, and cloud our judgment, keeping us from reaching our full potential. These negative influences can come in many forms: relationships that no longer serve us, friendships rooted in toxicity, environments that stifle our creativity, or even our own limiting beliefs. Recognizing and letting go of these negative forces is essential to creating space for self-discovery, growth, and the pursuit of our true selves. Many people struggle with the idea of letting go because it often involves change, discomfort, and difficult decisions. We hold on to relationships because of history, even when they have become emotionally exhausting. We stay in environments that make us unhappy because they feel familiar. We cling to old habits even when they no longer serve us. But the truth is, growth cannot happen in spaces that stifle our potential. Holding on to what weighs us down only delays our progress and prevents us from becoming who we are meant to be. One of the most common negative influences is toxic relationships. These can be friendships, romantic relationships, or even family dynamics that are emotionally draining rather than uplifting. Toxic relationships are often characterized by constant negativity, manipulation, lack of support, or an imbalance where one person constantly takes while the other gives. Staying in such relationships out of fear, guilt, or obligation hinders self-growth. It is important to recognize that we are not responsible for carrying the emotional burdens of others at the expense of our well-being. True connections should inspire, support, and encourage growth, not leave us feeling exhausted, unworthy, or stuck in a cycle of negativity. Letting go of toxic relationships does not mean harboring resentment or hatred. It simply means choosing peace over chaos, self-respect over attachment, and growth over stagnation. It requires the courage to set boundaries, to walk away from those who do not value or respect us, and to understand that our self-worth is not determined by the approval of others. Some relationships run their course, and that is okay. People change, circumstances shift, and sometimes the best thing we can do for ourselves is to step away from what no longer aligns with our values and aspirations. Beyond relationships, negative influences also come in the form of environments that stifle our growth. Whether it is a job that drains our passion, a social circle that discourages ambition, or a routine that feels uninspiring, the spaces we occupy have a significant impact on our mindset and motivation. When we surround ourselves with negativity, we absorb it. We begin to doubt ourselves, settle for less, and lose sight of our goals. It is essential to take an honest look at the environments we place ourselves in and assess whether they contribute to our growth or hinder it. Sometimes a change in surroundings, a new workplace, a different social circle, or even a shift in daily habits can make all the difference in unlocking our true potential. Negative influences are not always external. Sometimes they reside within us in the form of limiting beliefs and self-doubt. The way we talk to ourselves, the fears we hold on to, and the narratives we repeat in our minds can either empower or restrain us. Many people unknowingly sabotage their own growth by believing they are not good enough, not smart enough, or not capable enough to achieve their dreams. These limiting beliefs are often planted in childhood, reinforced by society, or shaped by past failures. But just because we have carried these beliefs for years does not mean they are true. Breaking free from negative self-talk requires conscious effort. It begins with self-awareness, recognizing the inner dialogue that holds us back and questioning its validity. Are these fears based on fact, or are they merely assumptions we have accepted over time? The moment we start challenging our doubts and replacing them with empowering beliefs, we take control of our mindset. Instead of saying, "I am not capable," we can say, "I am learning and growing." Instead of thinking, "I always fail," we can reframe it as, "Every setback is a lesson that brings me closer to success." Our thoughts shape our reality, and by shifting them, we open the door to endless possibility. Letting go of negative influences also involves breaking free from unhealthy habits that no longer serve us. These habits may be procrastination, unhealthy coping mechanisms, self-sabotage, or even spending time on things that drain our energy without adding value to our lives. Change is difficult, but growth requires discomfort. Replacing negative habits with positive ones takes time, patience, and commitment. It is about making small, intentional choices every day that align with the person we aspire to be. Whether it is choosing to read instead of scrolling through social media, practicing gratitude instead of dwelling on complaints, or prioritizing self-care instead of overextending for others, each decision shapes our future. An essential part of releasing negative influences is understanding that we do not owe anyone an explanation for choosing our well-being. Society often glorifies self-sacrifice, making people feel guilty for prioritizing themselves. But taking care of ourselves is not selfish, it is necessary. We cannot pour from an empty cup. If we are constantly drained by negativity, we will have nothing left to give to our dreams, our passions, and the people who truly matter. Choosing ourselves is an act of self-love, and the more we embrace it, the more we attract positive energy, meaningful connections, and opportunities that align with our purpose. The process of letting go is not always easy. There will be moments of doubt, moments when we question whether we made the right decision, moments when the comfort of familiarity tempts us to return to old patterns. But growth is not about comfort, it is about evolution. It is about trusting that by removing what no longer serves us, we make room for what truly aligns with our journey. When we clear out negativity, we create space for clarity, creativity, and inner peace. We begin to attract people, experiences, and opportunities that uplift us rather than weigh us down. Personal growth is a lifelong journey, and along the way we will constantly encounter new challenges, new relationships, and new environments. But by developing the strength to recognize and release negativity, we equip ourselves with the tools to navigate life with confidence and authenticity. We learn that we are not defined by our past, our circumstances, or the expectations of others. We are defined by our choices, the choice to grow, to heal, and to embrace the limitless potential within us. Focusing on your journey and not on comparison is one of the most important mindset shifts you can make for personal growth and fulfillment. In today's world, it is easier than ever to compare yourself to others. Social media, societal expectations, and even the people around us create an environment where it feels natural to measure our success, happiness, and self-worth against others. We see people achieving milestones, living seemingly perfect lives, and reaching goals that we have yet to accomplish, and we start questioning our own progress. The problem with comparison is that it distracts us from our own journey, causing self-doubt, dissatisfaction, and an endless cycle of never feeling good enough. True fulfillment comes when we shift our focus inward, measuring success by our own growth rather than by how we stack up against others. One of the biggest reasons people fall into the trap of comparison is the illusion of perfection that others portray. Social media has amplified this issue by allowing people to showcase only the highlights of their lives. The achievements, the victories, the moments of joy, while leaving out the struggles, failures, and hardships that are just as real. When we constantly consume these curated versions of other people's lives, it creates a false standard of success. We begin to believe that we are falling behind, that we are not doing enough, and that we are somehow inadequate. But the reality is that every person has their own struggles, insecurities, and obstacles. What we see on the surface is never the full story, and comparing our reality to someone else's highlight reel is an unfair and damaging practice. Another major issue with comparison is that it shifts our focus away from our own goals and passions. When we are too busy looking at what others are doing, we lose sight of what we truly want for ourselves. Instead of pursuing our own dreams, we start chasing validation and approval. We might take a certain career path because it seems more socially acceptable, pursue goals that do not align with our true desires, or measure success based on external standards rather than our own values. The danger of this is that even if we achieve these things, they will not bring true fulfillment. Success without purpose feels empty, and the only way to create a meaningful life is to align our goals with what genuinely excites and inspires us rather than what looks good to others. A key aspect of breaking free from comparison is recognizing that everyone's journey is different. We all have different starting points, different challenges, and different timelines. Just because someone achieves success earlier does not mean you are failing. Life is not a race, and there is no universal timeline that dictates when you should achieve certain things. Some people find success in their 20s, while others discover their true passion later in life. Some people take a straight path to their goals, while others go through detours, setbacks, and redirections. Every journey is unique, and the moment you stop measuring yourself against others is the moment you truly begin to embrace your own path. One of the most powerful ways to stay focused on your own journey is to practice gratitude. When you constantly compare yourself to others, you focus on what you lack rather than what you have. This creates a mindset of scarcity, making you feel like you are always behind, always missing something, always not enough. Gratitude shifts your perspective. It allows you to appreciate how far you have come, the lessons you have learned, and the growth you have experienced. When you focus on your own progress rather than someone else's achievements, you develop a sense of fulfillment that is not dependent on external validation. You begin to realize that your journey is valuable, meaningful, and worthy, regardless of how it compares to someone else's. Another way to avoid comparison is to redefine success on your own terms. Too often, we adopt society's definition of success, money, status, popularity, without questioning whether these things actually align with our values. Success is not a one-size-fits-all concept. For some, it may mean financial achievement, while for others, it could mean creative fulfillment, meaningful relationships, personal growth, or inner peace. When you take the time to define what success means to you, it becomes easier to stay focused on your own journey rather than being distracted by what others are doing. You stop chasing someone else's dream and start building a life that is truly aligned with who you are. One of the greatest dangers of comparison is that it creates unnecessary pressure and anxiety. When you constantly measure yourself against others, you feel like you have to rush through life, constantly proving yourself, constantly achieving more just to keep up. This pressure can lead to burnout, dissatisfaction, and a feeling of never being enough. But when you learn to embrace your own pace, you realize that growth is not about speed, it is about progress. Small steps forward are still steps forward, and every bit of progress you make is valuable, regardless of how fast or slow it may seem compared to others. A major mindset shift that helps in overcoming comparison is celebrating others without diminishing yourself. When we see someone else succeed, it is easy to feel envious, as if their success somehow takes away from our own potential. But success is not limited. Someone else achieving their goals does not mean you are less capable of achieving yours. Instead of seeing other people's success as competition, view it as proof that dreams are achievable. Let their success inspire you rather than discourage you. When you shift your mindset in this way, you stop seeing life as a competition and start realizing that there is enough space for everyone to grow, succeed, and thrive. One practical way to stay focused on your own journey is to limit your exposure to triggers that lead to comparison. If scrolling through social media leaves you feeling inadequate, take a step back. If certain environments make you feel like you are constantly being measured against others, distance yourself. Protecting your mental space is just as important as protecting your physical space. Surround yourself with people, content, and experiences that uplift and inspire you rather than make you question your worth. Self-reflection is another powerful tool in overcoming comparison. Instead of looking outward, turn inward. Ask yourself what truly matters to you. What are your personal goals? What brings you joy? What kind of life do you want to build? When you focus on self-discovery, you realize that external comparisons are irrelevant. Your purpose is uniquely yours, and no one else's journey can define your own. When you become deeply connected with your own path, the need to compare fades because you are too focused on your own growth to worry about what others are doing. Focusing on your own journey also means embracing failure as part of the process. Many people compare themselves to others without acknowledging the struggles that come with success. Every person who has achieved something great has faced setbacks, obstacles, and failures along the way. Instead of seeing failure as a sign that you are not good enough, view it as a necessary part of growth. Failure is not the opposite of success, it is a stepping stone toward it. When you accept this, you stop being discouraged by other people's achievements and start embracing your own progress, no matter how imperfect it may seem. The truth is, comparison steals joy. It shifts your focus from what is important to what is superficial. It blinds you to your own progress and makes you feel like you are always behind, even when you are exactly where you need to be. The moment you decide to stop comparing and start fully embracing your own journey, you regain control of your happiness, your confidence, and your sense of purpose. Every step forward, no matter how small, is a victory, and when you learn to celebrate your own progress instead of measuring it against someone else's, you unlock a level of fulfillment that comparison can never provide. Empowering yourself through self-reflection and action is a transformative process that allows you to take control of your life, make meaningful decisions, and create the future you truly desire. Many people live passively, allowing external circumstances, societal expectations, and the opinions of others to dictate their choices. However, true empowerment comes from within. It is not about waiting for the right opportunity or for someone else to validate your path. It is about taking responsibility for your own growth and making conscious decisions that align with your values and aspirations. Self-reflection is the foundation of this empowerment, providing clarity, direction, and the ability to recognize what truly matters in your journey. Action, on the other hand, is the force that turns insight into reality, pushing you forward and allowing you to evolve into the person you are meant to become. Self-reflection is the process of looking inward, assessing your thoughts, feelings, and behaviors, and understanding how they shape your life. It requires honesty, vulnerability, and a willingness to confront both strengths and weaknesses. Many people avoid self-reflection because it forces them to face uncomfortable truths. It reveals the habits, mindsets, and choices that may be holding them back. However, avoiding self-reflection does not change reality. It only prolongs the cycle of stagnation and unfulfilled potential. When you take the time to truly understand yourself, you gain insight into what drives you, what brings you joy, and what needs to change in order for you to grow. One of the most important aspects of self-reflection is identifying your core values. These are the principles that guide your decisions and shape your sense of purpose. Without a clear understanding of your values, it is easy to be influenced by external pressures and end up pursuing a life that does not truly align with who you are. Many people chase success, approval, or security without questioning whether these pursuits genuinely fulfill them. They follow paths that society deems respectable, only to realize later that they feel lost or unfulfilled. When you take the time to define what truly matters to you, whether it is creativity, freedom, connection, or growth, you gain a sense of direction that allows you to make choices with confidence and authenticity. Another critical component of self-reflection is acknowledging and challenging limiting beliefs. These are the subconscious thoughts and assumptions that shape your perception of what is possible. Many people hold themselves back because they believe they are not smart enough, talented enough, or worthy enough to achieve their dreams. These beliefs are often ingrained from childhood experiences, societal conditioning, or past failures. However, just because you have believed something for a long time does not make it true. The moment you begin questioning these beliefs and replacing them with empowering perspectives, you unlock a new level of confidence and possibility. Instead of thinking, I am not capable, you can shift to, I am learning and improving every day. Instead of saying, I will never succeed, you can affirm, every challenge I face is an opportunity to grow. Your mindset shapes your reality, and by choosing to adopt a perspective of possibility and resilience, you set yourself up for success. Self-reflection also involves taking accountability for your own life. It is easy to blame circumstances, other people, or bad luck for the things that have not gone as planned. While external factors do play a role, true empowerment comes from recognizing that you have control over how you respond to any situation. When you take responsibility for your own growth, you stop waiting for things to change and start creating the change yourself. You shift from a passive mindset to an active one, understanding that every decision you make, no matter how small, contributes to the direction of your life. However, self-reflection alone is not enough. It must be paired with action. Many people spend years thinking about what they want, analyzing their dreams and planning for the future, yet they never take the necessary steps to bring those dreams to life. Fear, perfectionism, and overthinking often prevent people from moving forward. They wait for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, or the perfect conditions before taking action. But the truth is, there is no perfect time to start. The only way to make progress is to take action, even if it is imperfect, messy, or uncertain. Taking action does not mean making drastic changes overnight. It means committing to small, consistent steps that align with your goals. If you want to improve your health, start by making one healthier choice each day. If you want to pursue a passion, dedicate a small amount of time each week to developing your skills. If you want to change careers, begin researching opportunities, networking, or learning new skills that will move you closer to that goal. Progress is not about speed, it is about consistency. Small steps compound over time, leading to significant transformation. One of the biggest obstacles to taking action is fear. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, and fear of the unknown. Many people stay stuck in unfulfilling situations because they are afraid of stepping outside their comfort zones. They worry about making mistakes or being criticized by others. But fear is a natural part of growth. Every successful person has faced doubt, setbacks, and moments of uncertainty. The difference between those who succeed and those who stay stuck is the willingness to take action despite fear. When you embrace discomfort as a necessary part of growth, you begin to see fear not as a barrier, but as a sign that you are pushing beyond your limits and expanding your potential. Another important aspect of taking action is resilience. Not every step you take will lead to immediate success. There will be setbacks, challenges, and moments of frustration. However, setbacks are not signs that you should give up. They are opportunities to learn, adapt, and come back stronger. Every mistake, failure, and obstacle contains a lesson that can guide you forward. When you develop resilience, you stop seeing challenges as roadblocks and start seeing them as stepping stones toward your goals. Empowering yourself through action also requires surrounding yourself with the right people. The energy, attitudes, and mindsets of those around you can either uplift or hinder your progress. If you spend time with people who are negative, discouraging, or complacent, Their mindset can influence your own. On the other hand, surrounding yourself with ambitious, supportive, and growth-oriented individuals can inspire you to push beyond your limits. Seek out mentors, friends, and communities that encourage your growth and challenge you to become the best version of yourself. Another powerful way to stay committed to action is to celebrate progress along the way. Many people get so focused on their end goal that they overlook the small victories that happen along the journey. Acknowledging progress, no matter how small, reinforces motivation and builds confidence. Whether it is completing a task, overcoming a challenge, or simply staying committed to your goals, every step forward is an achievement worth recognizing. Self-reflection and action go hand in hand. Reflection provides the clarity and insight needed to understand your desires, strengths, and areas for growth. Action turns that understanding into tangible progress. When you commit to both, you take control of your life, break free from limiting beliefs, and create the future you truly desire. You become the architect of your own journey, shaping your reality based on your own choices rather than external circumstances.